Welcome to The Daily Increase, the show that gives you tips and ideas on how to improve your life with small, manageable changes. I'm your host, Juan Artigas, and I'll be interviewing influencers in health, wealth, relationships, and personal development who will be sharing their habits that have made them successful. You see, change is never easy and can often seem insurmountable. That's why if you can commit to small, meaningful habits, you will begin to improve your life in ways that you didn't think were even possible. So take a listen and then take action. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hi everyone, today we're joined by Robert Vico. He's a marketing and promotions expert based out of Miami, Florida. How are you, Robert?
I'm doing great, Juan. Thank you for having me on the show.
Awesome. And I'd like to, for you to share with everybody kind of your journey on how you got to become an expert in your space and the things along the way that you've learned.
All right. I'll give everybody listening, I'll try to make it quick, give everybody a little recap on how I got to where I am today. And so I am in the marketing and promotions business. My company, Captured Glory, we are a full-service promotional branding company. And what we really focus on is creating marketing campaigns using the power of promotional products. I'll tell you a little bit about how we started the business and how we got to where we are today. So 17 years ago, I don't really realize until I do these kind of interviews how long it's been that I've been doing this. So
right.
17 years ago, I was in the nightclub business. I got into the nightclub business when I was about 20 years old. I thought it was a smart idea to work in the nightclub business while I went to college in the daytime. That was a disaster. And very quickly ended up dropping out of college and just working in the nightclub business full time. Had a lot of fun doing it. In my 20s, when you're working out in the nightclub business, especially South Beach in the 90s, which was the heyday. I mean, it was just madness out there. So it was a lot of fun. We made a lot of money, but with that came a lot of drama. And life kind of started to take some crazy turns. And I got myself in trouble a few times with the cops and got arrested. And we had some issues with some of the South Beach cops that were kind of extorting the nightclubs. And so we were butting heads with those guys. And long story short, those guys ended up getting arrested by the FBI. And
oh, wow.
And so it was South Beach in the 90s, if anybody listening was out there, it was like the Wild Wild West out there. I mean, South Beach now is very corporate. The clubs have offices. And, back in those days, the clubs were run by mobsters. So anyway, we butt heads and I decided that I was going to print a T-shirt with a Miami Beach Police badge on it. And I was going to put the badge number, badge 319, of that one officer that we were having so many problems with. And I stamped the words crooked in big red letters right across the badge. And we gave those T-shirts out, and everybody in South Beach loved the T-shirts. The cops didn't really love the T-shirts so much. That really didn't help the drama we were having with them.
Right.
But anyway, so that turned out to become a T-shirt line. I started a T-shirt company called Crooked Threads. And this was during the time where the Tyco executives got arrested and the Philadelphia cable company guys in Philadelphia had gotten arrested and the Anderson accounting. So there was a lot of white-collar crime going on.
Right.
And I played into the whole, from the street level to the boardroom, people are willing to risk the handcuffs for the money. And in the word crooked, the two O's in crooked were handcuffs, and the S in threads was a dollar bill. So we kind of created this urban streetwear line all about, what people are willing to do for that money. Great. I mean, we had a fun time doing it. We were in stores all the way from South Beach up to New Jersey. And, I was still in the club business and having fun doing it. And I get a phone call one day from my printer telling me that I'm going to have to find a new printer because he's filing bankruptcy and he's shutting the business down. And
wow. And at that time, was that your only printer that you were using at that time?
Yeah. I mean, I was still full throttle in the nightclub business, still managing clubs, still managing venues. And it wasn't the shock of the guy saying, "Hey, I can't print your shirts anymore." Wasn't that much of a smack in the face for me, because I saw an opportunity. And this is why I tell people that entrepreneurship saved my life, and that's why I love entrepreneurs and I go full throttle into anything that has to do with small business. Big corporate America stuff, I don't do well with it, don't like it. But when it comes to the level of the small business and the entrepreneur, I love it because it literally saved my life. I looked at that moment as, this is my way out of the nightclub business. This is my way out of this crazy drama-filled life that I've been living. I started in the nightclub business when I was 20 years old as a kid, and I'm now 29 years old, still in the nightclub business.
Right.
Thinking, how am I going to get out of this? I made a real bad mistake. I ended up dropping out of college. So I have no real work experience, no real education at this point. What the heck am I supposed to do at 29 years old now? And buying this bankrupt print shop was my way out. This was my way of walking away from all of this. So I took the leap. I worked out a deal with the guy, and I said, listen, give me a year to try to build this business up. If it works in a year, I'll buy it from you. If it doesn't work, I go my way, you go yours, and we gave it a shot.
Okay.
So the first thing I did was go after the nightclubs. Started printing T-shirts for the nightclubs, the restaurants, all the bars, and that did well. I started to build my business. A year later, which would be 2000, I ended up buying the company from him, and been at it ever since. Turned it around from a bankrupt T-shirt shop into what we are today, which is a full-service branding company, and continuing now to go in the direction of just becoming an all-out marketing coach and marketing consulting, helping small businesses kind of take their business to the next level. And it's been a hell of a ride. I mean, I tell people when they ask me what's my take on entrepreneurship, I say the same thing every time. Entrepreneurship is like this amazing, thrilling roller coaster ride.
Right.
For 1 minute, you got your hands up in the air, and you're like, woo! Man, and the next minute, you're holding on for dear life, man.
It's very predictable.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah. And I think that's what scares a lot of people from kind of taking that dive or taking that step into the world of entrepreneurship. I'd like to go back really quick to the point where you had your main print company basically tell you, hey, we can't print any more shirts. At that point, that was your only pipeline into that industry. So what caused you to see that as an opportunity? Because most people would just be like, oh man, I've got to find somebody else, or well, I can't do this anymore. Talk about that moment when you realized instead of being a setback, it was a tremendous opportunity for you.
Well, it's like they say, with every problem you can turn it into an opportunity. And to me, the opportunity of getting out of this, out of the nightclub business, getting out of the drama that came with the nightclub business, was my only option. So it wasn't a very strategic move, let's say, Juan. It was more of a move of desperation. It was really at 29 years old, and I've never really shared this with anyone, but at 29 years old, I can recall being with my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now, and having a conversation with her, and her telling me, I will not marry you until you get out of this crazy life. I'm not going to marry someone who's living this drama, crazy, chaotic life. And I remember at 29 years old, almost having a midlife crisis. I remember that day crying to her, telling her, I just don't know what to do. I don't know how to get out of the situation that I put myself in. And I just kept focusing on the fact that I have no education, and for the last 10 years, I don't have a resume. Who's going to hire a guy whose resume says nightclub business 10 years? That's it. No real education. No
work history, basically.
Right. So I that's what I would focus on. And that drove me to just a desperation in my life that I needed to figure it out. And that was the opportunity, and I took it. And I'll give a little shout out to some friends of mine. We're not as close as we used to be, but these guys were my boys back in the day. And they bought a bankrupt flyer, a bankrupt print shop at the time called Graphics Type and Color. And at the time, we were all in the nightclub business, and we were printing our flyers with Pete and Wilhelmina at Graphics Type and Color. And it was the same exact scenario. They came to my friend Carlos, and they said, hey, we're going to have to shut the business down. You guys need to find someone else to buy to print your flyers. And Carlos Perez and Al Moran bought Graphics Type and Color, changed the name to GTC Media, and now it's clubflyers.com, and they are a multi-million-dollar company. And I said, you know what? If Carlos and Al can do this, I can do the same thing. This is my way out. I bought this print shop and turned it around, and here I am today sharing my story, hoping to inspire others who may be listening to this saying, I'm just scared. I want to make the move, and I'm scared. Maybe you want to leave corporate America. Maybe you got a passion that you want to follow. Just do it. You can live a life of desperation, or you can use desperation to take a leap of faith, which is what I did.
That's awesome. And thank you so much for sharing that and being vulnerable with your story. It really starts with that first little step to make that decision, and that first piece of action to commit to basically a new life and building a new life for yourself and now your wife and your family.
Absolutely.
That's excellent. And so today, talk about the business that you're in today, what kind of clients you service, what value you provide to your customers, and things of that nature.
So 17 years ago, we went out to the world saying, hey, we sell T-shirts. And we went basically to every nightclub and restaurant and bar that I knew out there and started printing their T-shirts. Very quickly realized what a pain in the ass it was to get paid by these nightclubs and these bars. So said, okay, well, we need to kind of go after some business to business. I realized that 99% of the people ordering T-shirts from us were ordering T-shirts because they were trying to find a way to kind of promote their company. You know, they figure, well, I need T-shirts for my warehouse guys and for my drivers, and if they could walk around with my logo as a little walking, talking billboard. So I realized very quickly into it that I was not in the T-shirt business. I was in the business of helping a small business market and promote themselves, and we used the T-shirt as that vehicle. Once I kind of figured that out, I started to position ourselves as, not just a T-shirt shop. And we brought in the corporate apparel, right? We understood how important it is to make a good first impression on your prospects and clients. So we brought in the embroidered corporate apparel. And then a couple of years later, we brought in the promotional products. We realized that this is one of the best ways for a small business to market and promote themselves, because the promotional product, a small entry point, yet can create so many impressions that the cost per impression becomes minimal, right? You give someone your mug, they're going to use and see that mug 10, 15, 20 times a day on their desk. You cannot afford to reach your prospect 10, 15, 20 times a day with newspaper, magazine, radio, or television. So a promotional item is a great way to get your message in front of and keep it in front of them until the decision to buy is made. So that was really a turning point for me in the business, and understanding that we can do so much more to help a company than just sell them a promotional part where they go and hand them out.
Right.
What really made all this start clicking was in 2002, I went to one of these success tours, and I heard a gentleman speak, Dan Kennedy. And he was this kind of odd-looking guy with this big handlebar mustache, and he was kind of cranky and sarcastic and condescending, and I loved it. I was like, this guy's amazing.
He was a character, right? Like a character,
right? Yeah. And he'll tell you when you'll hear his stories, when he was on the success tour, he's speaking with people like Donald Trump, Colin Powell, Norman Schwarzkopf, Bill Gates, and he's usually the guy who speaks in the end. And I remember, and he says this in his speeches, but I remember sitting there with my friend Diego and my wife Christy saying, listen, we might as well listen to the guy instead of getting in traffic. It was at the BB&T Center over there by Sunrise. Right. And we waited it out, listening to the guy, and I fell in love with it, and it really completely changed my view on marketing. And it really made me what I call myself today, a self-diagnosed marketing junkie. Because when it comes to marketing, I love it. To me, it's all about marketing, not brand building marketing, not the kind of marketing Nike and Coca-Cola do. Mm-hmm. I'm talking direct response marketing. As small business owners and entrepreneurs, we don't have the big budgets that Coca-Cola does and Nike to build a brand. So what we need to do with our marketing dollars is we need to do direct response marketing, meaning that every piece of marketing we put out there, every campaign we put out there needs to have a direct response, needs to generate a return on our investment. And that's what I love doing. I love helping small business owners figure that out, piece it all together, and actually start generating return on investments for their marketing, as opposed to them saying, hey, Rob, my marketing sucks, which is the title of my new show. And I'll tell you a little bit about that in a second. I don't want to, sometimes you got to reel me in, because I'll go off on 10 different tangents and I'll even forget what the original question was.
No, that's fine. You're doing great. You're doing great. Please continue.
Understanding that the promotional product is an amazing way for a small business to market and promote themselves, I realized that I have to show the small business owner how to use it, because really 99% of small business owners out there that are using promotional products are just throwing their money away, and they're doing it all wrong. And actually, my new business card that we're going to get printed next week, it says right on it's a bifold, the little flap, the outside flap says, stop ordering promotional products. It does not work.
Wow.
Right? So when you meet someone and they say, hey, what business are you in? You say, I'm in the promotional product, and then you give them your card.
Yeah.
And your card says, stop, promotional products don't work. It gets their attention. It's like, whoa. What's happening?
It's counterintuitive, and you're right. That is a great attention grabber.
It is a good attention grabber. Then when you open up the card, it goes on to explain that promotional products don't work the way you're using them. Right? Most people, we tend to just order a random item, probably because it was on sale or something that you liked, yourself. And we print our logo on it, our phone number, maybe our website, and we go and we randomly give this random item out to the first 300 people we come across. And then when I talk to them and say, hey, Juan, how'd it go? I know you ordered water bottles last month. You want to reorder? You need to reorder? Oh, no, I gave out 300 water bottles. Nothing happened. What do you think was going to happen when you went on and you gave out 300 water bottles to random people? So you started to understand it. And I use the water bottle as a good example. The Chick-fil-A down here in Doral, we worked with one of their marketing managers, and they give out Chick-fil-A water bottles at local events. So they'll go to the local rec program in the little rec basketball league, and they'll go and they go out their water bottles. But what we did was we attached a little gift card for a free chicken sandwich on the water bottle. So they can now track the effectiveness of this campaign, and they can track the return on the investment. So they can now say, hey, Robert, we gave out 300 water bottles. 150 people came in to redeem the free chicken sandwich gift certificate. We know this works. When I call them and say, you want to reorder? They say, yes, we want to reorder 1,000 this time. Right? So it's really finding a way to get myself out of the commodity business and no longer be in the position of, well, Rob, I can get this pen or this water bottle 25 cents cheaper online. I'm not selling you a water bottle. I'm selling you a marketing campaign. I'm selling you a return on investment. I'm selling you a way to draw in more prospects, more clients, more traffic to your trade show, more referrals. I'm selling you a way to gather testimonials. I'm selling you a way to do gift with purchase. That's what we're selling now.
Right. And that's really, it's a win-win because you're going to have the client purchase what they need to get more leads and more sales. And then, of course, when that happens, they're going to want to order more products from you. So everybody benefits.
Right. We become more valuable to them. And again, that's one of those lessons that I learned the hard way. Going into this business in about 2003, I said to myself, we're going after the big dogs. We started working with MTV, the MTV Latino Studios on Lincoln Road, American Airlines Arena. We started working with Comcast. You know what I realized? This is a huge pain in the ass. Comcast takes 4 months to pay me. 4 months to pay me. I'm like, whoa, this is no good, right? I realized that while going after these large accounts may have fed my ego and may have fed my ego to the world when the world can say, oh, look who we do business with, right? It wasn't the right market for us. It would take months to make a decision because they have to go from committee to committee to committee to committee. And then at the end, when the committee decides on something, then they just want to nickel and dime you the whole way through it. They just want to get this item as cheap as possible. They don't want any of your marketing advice because they all have marketing degrees. They're all big corporate America people. They know better than the little small business owner, right?
Right.
So, and then after all of that, I wait 4 months to get paid. 4 months later, I call my contact, and guess what? Oh, they're no longer in this department. Oh, they've been transferred, and you got to start this process all over again.
Yeah.
So we realized that working with a small business owner, the relationship directly with the owner. When I call 3 months from now, nobody's going to tell me, oh, the owner's been transferred to a different department. I don't have to wait months. The owner will write me a check right on the spot. And I bring value to the table because the owner of that small business that I'm working with doesn't look at me as just the promotional products person. They look at us as a valuable marketing partner. I'm helping them figure out how to market their business. And most of them have no idea what to do. The only reason I know what to do is because I became a marketing junkie and I threw myself into Dan Kennedy and to a few other mentors that I follow and study. And I do the seminars and the courses and the programs and the workshops. And I spend thousands of dollars and hours every year learning it all. And I have so much fun now teaching it all to others.
That's fantastic. Yeah, you've made the investment in acquiring the knowledge, and now you're passing that on and passing on the value that you've obtained over the course of your career doing this.
You know, I run a couple of mastermind groups. And in those mastermind groups, I can always tell which entrepreneur in that group is going to be more successful or is going to skyrocket their success. Because when I'm hosting a meeting and I give people, I recommend certain books to read, you'll always have those people that say, oh, Vico, I don't have the time to read. Or even worse, what infuriates me more is, oh, I don't like to read. Like, listen, we're not in third grade anymore, buddy. You know, we're grown people. You want your business to be successful. You need to make the sacrifice. You need to toughen up and read something. So, you know, one of the things that I try to do every single day is I'm a big reader. So I read every day, usually right before going to bed. I'll shut the TV and the laptop off and I'll read. But I highly recommend anyone, if you want to get that daily increase, set aside 15 minutes a day and just read a couple of pages. You can bang out a book a month and you go through 12 books a year. on business, on marketing, on systems, on efficiency, your business is going to do much better. It's just, there's no way that you can go through that much information and not have an increase in your business.
That is fantastic advice, Robert, and thanks for sharing that. I completely agree. 15 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, and most people don't realize exactly what you said. If you read 15 minutes a day, well, then in a year, that's 12 books. And I don't know what the statistic is, but I can almost guarantee you most people do not read 12 books in a year.
Oh, no, most people don't read one in 10 years.
Yeah, so let's talk about your book.
Yeah, so when I decided to get myself out of the commodity business and position myself differently, I thought, I got to write a book. So because the book allows me to get all of this information in front of people to kind of help them see how they can use the power of promotional products in a different way. So I wrote a book called Outrageous Promotions That Are Outrageously Effective, and it's available on Amazon. We use it more as a marketing tool. We have a sales funnel where we drive traffic to our free book offer. And actually, anyone listening to this podcast would like to get a copy of the book, they can go to outrageouspromotions.com, and there is a book funnel there's a landing page or a pop-up to request a free book. And we do ask for $4.95 for shipping, but I will take down that shopping cart. You let me know when this is going to go live, and I will take down the shopping cart so that everyone on your podcast here can get it absolutely free of charge.
Phenomenal. Thank you. And what we'll do also is on the webpage, the blog post, we'll have all the links that you just mentioned to that offer. And thanks for sharing that with our audience.
And I'll give you guys a couple of tips as to why I did the book and why we use the book offer the way we do.
Okay.
So writing a book for any business really positions you as an expert and authority in your field. Okay? But most people get completely overwhelmed by the thought of writing a book. And I really wish someone had given me this advice before I did it, because I wrote my book the old-fashioned way, and I have a bin full of research and all this stuff that I went through, and I slugged it out and wrote the book. I recommend people now, there's quite a few ways to get the book done much quicker. One of the easiest things to do is go on a site like Upwork. Decide let's say you're going to do a book with 10 chapters. Decide what your 10 chapters are going to be. Go to Upwork, hire someone to write 10 articles on those 10 topics. I did this. I didn't do this for my book. I did it before when the article sites were very popular. And I found the guy on Elance, which is now part of Upwork, and he wrote 12 promotional product articles for me to submit to article sites, and he did them for $100. So you can get someone
wow.
Right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
You can get someone to write 10 articles for you for $100. Take those 10 articles, expand on them, add your own personality, add your voice, add your sense of humor, and you got your book.
Yeah.
You're done.
Absolutely. You know? Yep, exactly.
Another great way to do it is we all know how to talk. Talk your book out, record it, upload the recording to Upwork, and have someone transcribe it. Your book is done. So there's a lot of ways to do it, and there's a whole bunch of other strategies out there. But I would recommend, don't let the work hold you back. There's simple ways to get it done, and do it, because the positioning that it's going to do for you is amazing. The way it positions you is amazing. I mean, only experts write books.
Exactly. Yeah, and getting your name out there that way is just another way to establish social proof in your field.
Right. So now you can write it as a book. You can do the book and have it as an ebook, or you can go on CreateSpace, which is Amazon's self-publishing platform, and publish the book through CreateSpace and have it available on Amazon, which is how I do it. The reason I do a physical book is because I want people to have to give me their physical address to mail them the book. When you do an ebook, you're not going to get anyone to give you their physical address on the sign-up page, because you don't need an address to download a book. The reason I want to capture their physical address is because once I capture that physical address, I mail them the book. Then I start mailing them catalogs, sales letters. We do a lot of direct response type of outrageous promotion. We'll send out sales letters in bank bags. We'll send out these little safes. We send out pill bottles. We do all kinds of things, and I can only do that by capturing their physical address. So if you're in a business that you want to get physical marketing in front of someone, do a physical book. That way you can capture their address and put them on your mailing list and get them from online to offline marketing.
That's brilliant. And again, now you have their physical address. Of course, you're providing value by giving the client or the customer a book. And now you can send samples, right, of your products.
Yeah, in our case, we send samples of the outrageous campaigns that we put together. We send catalog, sales letters, case studies. Oh, we send so much stuff. The reason we send so much, or the reason we do so much, is because I say this little saying a lot. It's people love to buy, but they hate to be sold.
Right.
What I mean by that is we love to buy stuff. We don't necessarily like to be sold. Right? And I use the same example over and over because it's the best way to get my point across. So you get up Saturday morning and your spouse says, hey, we're going to the furniture store. We need a new couch. You get in your car. You get to the furniture store. You walk in the door. The sales rep greets you, says, hey, how are you? What can I help you with? 99.9% of the time, we're going to say, no, thank you. We're just looking, right?
Exactly.
Which is a bunch of BS because you're there to buy a couch, and it would be so much easier to buy the couch if you told the gentleman exactly what you're looking for. He's going to take you right to it. But instead, we walk around the whole store, we look at all of them, and then once we pick one, we turn to the rep, and then we start asking him questions about that. The reason we do that is because we want to buy a couch. We don't want you selling us a couch. So what I do, understanding that people like to make the decision to buy on their own, and they don't want anybody going, you want to buy, you want to buy, you want to buy, you want to buy. We use marketing. We use the book, the case studies, the examples. We use our marketing to get valuable content in front of the prospect so that the prospect makes a decision to buy on their own. When the prospect contacts us, they're ready to buy. When the prospect contacts us, it's the same moment as when they saw the couch they like and they turn to the rep and they say, we want that. That's what I try to do with my marketing. People ask me, Rob, what's the difference between marketing and selling? Okay? I say marketing is what gets the phone to ring. Selling is what you do when you pick up the phone. But if you do your marketing, you pick up the phone, they're ready to buy from you.
Exactly. You've already primed the customer. You've qualified them. They're interested in what you have to offer, and they're ready to make a transaction.
Right. So my job is to get them the content, give them the information to help them make the buying decision on their own so that when they contact me, they're ready to buy and we don't have to sell them, which makes life a whole lot easier.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And it's a lot less, not less work, but it's more efficient work on your behalf. And it's a smooth process for the client.
Absolutely.
You're based out of the Miami area, but do you service clients all over the U.S. or how does that work?
Yes, we are based in Miami. We're actually based in Miami Springs, which is right where I live. So my drive to work is probably about 4 minutes, which is amazing.
That's awesome.
But we don't, everything is done through the phone and through email. We don't really have a lot of people coming to our office. Everything is processed through email, the phone. Everything is drop shipped through UPS, or we'll have a courier if they're in the local market. Courier will shoot it over to them. So yeah, I mean, we can help anybody basically anywhere nowadays, right? The power of the internet has made us into a global economy.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I'll put this in the show notes as well. But your main website would be what?
Our main website would be capturedglory.net. That's the website that you can see our t-shirts and corporate apparel and all of our promotional items. And then outrageouspromotions.com, that's the website where you can get the book. And that's a website where you can learn more about using the power of promotional products in your marketing. That's where we have more case studies, more information on. The other site is just more product-driven site.
Right. That's phenomenal. And again, we'll have summaries of both websites with links in the show notes on the podcast blog page. The Daily Increase, Robert, is all about how someone can change their life a little bit each day, and over the long term, they become big changes. So based on your experience as an entrepreneur, and you had some great advice about reading 15 minutes a day, what are a couple of other habits, daily habits, that someone can start doing if they're looking to either become an entrepreneur or expand their business? So
definitely the reading 15 minutes a day is going to have, that's going to create that little daily increase that before you know it is going to change your life. The other thing that I've been doing probably for the last maybe 8 months now, I've really gotten the habit of doing this, is every night before I start reading, I make myself a list of the things that I want to do the next day. So I don't wait till I get to my office the next morning to make my to-do list. I make my to-do list the night before. Part of the reason why I started doing that is because being on the ADD side and having a very overactive mind, I don't sleep well. So I find myself at night thinking of everything that I want to do tomorrow. So I quickly realized that, wait, if I put all this down on paper, my mind is more at rest and I can get a better night's sleep. What I didn't realize what was happening is, the gist of what happens is your subconscious mind starts working on how you're going to achieve these things for the next day. So when you get up, your mind has already started the process. How are we going to get all these things done, right? Again, I don't know how it works, but it's working because I'm getting my to-do list done every day. Or before I get to work, write my to-do list, check my email, answer the phone call. Before you know it, I never even got back to the to-do list, right? But this is kind of keeping me focused. It drives me to get them done. The other thing that I've been doing is making much smaller to-do lists.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I used to make to-do lists with 10, 15 things and only get a couple done and carry them over. And what happens is it's very discouraging.
Right.
You feel that you didn't accomplish it all. I didn't get it all done. Well, you gave yourself a huge list. It was probably not going to get done to begin with. So what I've started to do is make myself a small list of the most important revenue generating things that I need to do, right? So a lot of the miscellaneous things that we put on our to-do list probably don't belong on our to-do list. Our to-do list should be revenue generating activity or activity that's going to get us closer to our big picture goals. The rest of the stuff like on a to-do list, you shouldn't put, send the vendor a check, right? That's not priority stuff that should be on your to-do list. So I realized that I put a lot of stuff on it that I shouldn't. And I started making myself very small to-do lists. And the positive reinforcement that comes from it is amazing because you put yourself 4 items, I bang out all 4. If I don't bang out all 4, I usually maybe get 2 done, so I at least got half of it done. So it keeps you it keeps you moving, it keeps you focused on only revenue generating or big goals, and it gives you positive reinforcement. You're not beat down every day saying, shit, I didn't get all this done. Look at the list. And the list just keeps transferring over day after day, week after week. Not very effective. This technique has been working great for me.
That's phenomenal. So can you give an example of one item that you might see in your to-do list just so our listeners could have an idea of what that list kind of is made up of?
For me, it's all revenue generating, big goals. So one of the goals, one of the things on the list now, right? I'm working on rebranding a program that I created called First 100 Clients that we created for new businesses. And in creating this and working through this system, we realized how powerful this could be for real estate agents. And we're rebranding the entire thing as Next 100 Listings. So every day on my to-do list at night, it's what's the next step in Next 100 Listings. Then there might be something that has to do with Capture Glory Outrageous Promotions. On the list, there might be some activity now with this new Rob Help My Marketing Sucks Facebook Live thing that I'm doing.
Right.
So it's not make this quote or reply to this email. It's not the little miscellaneous busy stuff. It's stuff that's going to help me continue to take my business to the next level.
I like that. So it's more like instead of having a task list, like answer an email is a task, right? Or pick up the phone is a task. It's more like get this accomplished for this project or for this thing that I'm working on.
Right. Yes, that's a perfect way of describing it. It's not a task list. And I came across a journal or a planner. It's a bestself.com. And this thing is really cool. I'm kind of old school. I like pen and paper. I like my to-do list on a paper, not on some little to-do list app type of thing.
Right.
So Best Self is this planner, and it's a 90-day planner. And it's basically planning out the steps that you need to take every single day for the next 90 days to achieve one big goal. That's it. This is not a year-long planner. This is a planner to achieve a big picture goal in 90 days. And every day you walk through the steps in this planner. And it's not just the task steps. There's gratitude steps. There's what did I learn today? What did I do wrong today? So it's all meant to kind of continue to help you fine-tune and harness your work and productivity so that you can achieve this goal in 90 days. When you get to 90 days, you got to order another planner and start your next goal. But doing that thing has been amazing for me. It's been amazing. It's bestself.com. Mm-hmm. It's an amazing little tool. I think it's like $39 for one of these planners. And man, nothing is going to help you keep taking those steps toward those big goals like this thing. At least for me, it's been very, very helpful to keep me structured, keep me moving forward.
Excellent. I'll include that link in the show notes as well. So it sounds like you've got a very good evening routine between the writing the next day's tasks that you're going to work on, or not tasks to do this, mm-hmm. and also reading every night. I really like that. And I think that if someone implements this every day, where would they be in a month? Where would they be in a year? Where would they be in 5 years? It's the growth would just be pretty much exponential, I think.
So I was in my office Saturday afternoon. I'm usually in the office Saturday because we're not open Saturday. So that's my time just for me to work on big picture stuff, creative stuff. And I got a text message from a friend of mine asking me for some feedback on a flyer that he was working on. And at that moment, I realized, man, I get interrupted a lot by people wanting to pick my brain. And I like doing it because being a marketing junkie, it just kind of feeds the ADD. I get to kind of jump into a different industry, a different business, and kind of give them some feedback. So I don't mind doing it, but it inspired me to say, you know what, why don't I do like a live call-in show on Facebook where people can call in with their marketing questions and I'm going to answer them live on Facebook. This was Saturday afternoon that I came up with this idea. The only way that I'm going to make this really happen is if I make a video right now and announce it to the world. So I grabbed my phone and I made a Facebook live video saying basically what I just told you. Mm-hmm. And I went full throttle with this thing on Monday. Being an entrepreneur is about taking action. We got to try things, different things. You know that saying? People say, you kind of throw it on the wall and see what sticks. I look at entrepreneurship as a little more chaotic than that. I like to say throw it to the ceiling fan. See where it lands and what sticks, right? I say that because entrepreneurship is messy. Success is messy, right? But it's about just taking action, taking steps forward. So I did it. It was an amazing time doing it. The reason that I'm mentioning it now at the end is because I would love for the people listening to this podcast to submit their question. So if you got a marketing question, you're stuck somewhere, you want some feedback on a sales letter, a website copy, direct mail piece, whatever's got you stuck, whatever you're working on, you can go to Facebook, go to Rob, Help My Marketing Suck, and you can submit your question there, and I'll answer them live every Monday at 2 p.m.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. That's a great value, and they can leverage all your experience and success in the marketing field.
And it's a whole lot of fun.
Awesome. I love it. And I'll have to try that out myself. Yeah. And Robert, I really appreciate you sharing your story. It's quite an interesting journey. You've gotten tremendous success in where you are. I've seen the quality of your work. It is absolutely top notch. And I can't recommend it enough to everyone who's listening, and really appreciate your time today on the podcast.
Great. It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks for listening to The Daily Increase. If you like today's episode, you can find show notes and links to the guest webpage at thedailyincrease.com. As an added bonus, you can also join our mailing list and receive a free report on 4 daily habits you can start doing today to change your life. Please subscribe on iTunes and leave a quality review. Thanks, and start making changes today. We'll see you next time.